everyone. In today's video, I am participating in a monthly challenge hosted by Melissa, the Keep It Simple Sunday, and her co-host today is Jackie Burns. So go check out the playlist of these wonderful creators. For my first DIY, I'm using a football wreath from the Dollar Tree, and I don't show you the process, but this is the end result. I just take some jute rope from Walmart and I wrap the entire frame in that. It takes a little bit of time, so sit in front of a movie or whatever you like to do and or put on some music and get to wrapping. So I'm reusing this floral foam and I'm just going to take some of this ribbon and wrap it around. Here I'm going to use some hot glue, but you could also use some floral pins to keep it in place if you don't want to glue it down. And the reason I'm doing this is so when it's in the basket, well, it's not a basket, but I made the football frame into kind of like a basket. So when the floral foam's in there, then you can't really see it. It'll be hidden with the ribbon. So all I'm going to do is I'm trying to find the good placement for it, and then I'm just going to take some hot glue and just glue it down in there. I do want to apologize for the darkness of the video. I got a new setup, and even though you can't really tell, I've got a ring light and I've got another lamp. I think I just need to probably get another ring light to put behind me to make it better. But here I take the rest of the ribbon this is from the Dollar Tree, and it's a real pretty, real sturdy, great quality for $1 a roll wired ribbon. And all I'm going to do is just wrap it around itself multiple times, fold it in half, and then I'll just cut my little slits on the side. I do about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, somewhere around there. And then the remainder of it, I pull off, fold in half, and do the same little slits on both sides. And this is going to be the tails. So I put the loops on top of the tail, and I'm just going to get a little chenille stem. Any color really works for me because you can't really tell. I fluff my bows so much that it hides the chenille stem pretty well. So I do make sure that when I twist the chenille stem, it's twisted really tightly. So you got to make sure you're doing that. It helps in the fluffing of your bows and keeping it standing up nice and pretty. Now the next thing I do is I actually just take the chenille stem and wrap it around the bottom of a couple of the rings, and then I fluff my bow. This is actually my favorite part of making a bow because you could just see how everything turns out, and it's so nice and beautiful. And as you can see, you can't see the chenille stem at all. So here then I just go ahead and take and dovetail the ends of the ribbon, and that's pretty much it for the ribbon. So I've got all these beautiful florals. Some I'm reusing, but these are like the burgundy hydrangeas from the Dollar Tree. I'd only gotten a few because, man, when the florals come out, they go fast. And I was lucky to find a few of these, so I actually only used one of them in there. This is actually a pick from Walmart last year, and I just absolutely love it. The green hint of the pumpkin. I think it goes great with the burgundy hydrangeas. And then I also have like these cream off-white roses that I got from the Dollar Tree last year as well. And I just think it just comes all together in such a pretty color. The ribbon, amazing find to be able to match this perfectly. And then I do have some little greenery. I got it from Walmart last year, and I cut it down, and I can't remember what the heck it's called. And I haven't been to Walmart, so I don't even know if they have it this year. I hope they do because I really like it, and it's really pretty. But you can tell that all I'm doing is just going around and taking my flowers and my greenery and just making an arrangement. Now, I did want to make sure that I covered everything fully at the bottom, and then I placed the pick up a little high in the foam because I did want it to kind of mask some of the top of the, what I'm going to call basket. But here's the finished product, and I just think it turned out so pretty. I am going to be making a set, so this was just the one that I did for the video. And here for my second DIY, and I am so sorry for that little line. It's my camera fitting in my tablet fitting into the holder, and it just, I can't tell, but I guess I need to push a little piece of it down, and I don't see it very often. But I'm really trying to be more mindful of it. But I just take this gather sign and I pop off the front, and I just get this craft paper, that scrapbook paper that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I cut it down to size. And all I'm going to do is just I'm going to just glue the paper down, and then I'll hot glue the sign on top. If you want, you can paint the sign, but I thought it would be pretty just to leave it the way it is. So in this next DIY, I am using Dollar Tree ribbon, this wreath frame, and a bunch of Dollar Tree floral picks. Excuse me. And right now I'm just going to take the two ribbons and I'm going to make a bow. So I kind of just put them together, one on top of the other. And I use the same method as I did in the last bow, but this is just how you can do it with multiple ribbons. Now, I just take it and roll it on itself multiple times. You do have to try to make sure that the ribbon stays flat and straight throughout the layers. For some reason, the white ribbon wanted to curl up and into the middle of the loops, but it all worked out in the end. So I just, again, roll it over on top of each other, cut it, and then I fold it in half, and then I cut my little slits on the ends, either from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch on each end. You do want to make sure that you don't go too far in, because if you do, then you risk actually cutting through possibly one of the ribbons in the middle if it's not straight. And I say that because I've done it with experience. And so just kind of be careful. That's why I kind of stick around with the 1/4 and 1/2 inch slits. So I do the same with the two long pieces. I just put one on top of the other, fold it in half, cut the slits, and here I am taking my chenille stem and I am turning it in the back, and I'm kind of pinching everything together and making sure that I am tying it in pretty tight. Now I went ahead and I put it on the wreath frame first. That way it helps me out a little bit when I'm fluffing. And so I made sure that I put the chenille stems in between some of the, oh, I don't know what you would call it, but I guess just the twists in the wreath. And then I'll just take and start fluffing the bow. So I kind of alternate going one up, one down, and then the next one I'll do like one down and one up. Just alternating the colors, trying to not make it to where everything is in one location. And you would actually use the same method if you used even more ribbons. So, you know, if you chose to use 3 or 4 different ribbon, then you would just do the same method on here. So I really love these cream and light colored leaves from the Dollar Tree this year. I think I bought as much as I could. Again, you know, those go by fast, so I bought all of them. So there are some that are just plain leaves, and then there were some that had like the little pumpkins and berries on it, so I got a mix of both of them. So I'm just, after I cut off my my picks and cut them down, I'm just going through and arranging all my floral pieces together to make this really pretty full wreath. Now here I'm using the other 2 hydrangea picks that I got from Walmart. From the Dollar Tree. And as you go, what I like to do is I like to trim mine pretty long initially, and then as I am wrapping them or placing them into the wreath, if I need to cut it down, then I can. But I like to leave my stems a little long. That way it actually holds better in the wreath for me, in my opinion, and you don't really have to use the hot glue or any, you know, floral wire to actually keep it down. So just keep that in mind. Now these wreaths are actually so easy and so beautiful. These, what I would call, I don't know what this, I guess it's a bamboo wreath, I don't know, but in my mind I still think of it as a grapevine wreath, even though it's not a grapevine wreath frame. So you just keep adding all the picks, and I like to start basically with the greenery sometimes. It just really depends, honestly, like what greenery I had. But because I had so much of the light colored leaves, then I went ahead and started with that, and then kind of just started placing my other floral picks in there. But other times, if I have a lot of flowers and not as much greenery, then I'll do the flowers. So basically, I guess I start with whatever I have the most of. Now I took these pumpkins from Hobby Lobby, and I had thought about putting them on there, but when I started trying to arrange them, I just wasn't liking it. The colors went great because the leaves, some of the leaves have a hint of orange, and then also the white, but I ended up not using these. I ended up using the little pumpkin clips that come 3 for $1 at the Dollar Tree, and I just went and randomly put some around on the wreath. Now, in my opinion, if I hadn't used the fall ribbon that had the fall wording on it, you really could use this kind of as a farmhouse wreath all year long, and you could just take the pumpkins off. But I really think this is such a pretty wreath. I love the color combination. My husband's really, his favorite color is red, so I like to try to incorporate some red decor, because he's got to look at the decoration a lot too, and I want to make sure that he likes it and his colors he enjoys as well, and it's not just about me. Now, I think I just added 3 pumpkins, but by all means, you can add more if you want. But I thought they were just such a cute little touch to this wreath. And this wreath was actually created with all Dollar Tree products. So now I'm just dovetailing the ends of the bow just to make sure it all looks nice and neat. And here's the finished product. To me, this is just absolutely gorgeous. Now on to the next project. Here's those leaves with the berries and the pumpkins I was saying that had a couple of different varieties at Dollar Tree. And this sign was from Walmart last year. I had got after the fall season, so I got it on clearance. It was like 75% off, and I think I got it for like $1.24 because it was originally like $5 or something. Now, all I'm going to do here is just take some of the leaves, and you can actually glue them down. I think I actually get a zip tie and zip tie the leaves together. I kind of struggled with this one a little bit. I think this was the only, well, not the only one. Sorry, my thoughts are getting all jumbled. But I take this and I zip tie it together, and then I just take some hot glue and I hot glue it to the top of the sign. And I actually thought about taking some scrapbook paper and maybe covering the ends for the edges, the sides, for a different look, but I decided not to. I thought it was really, I thought it went well with all of the decor that I was making here with the oranges and the creams and stuff and the burgundy. So now, when I say I was struggling, I started struggling because of the pumpkins. Maybe they were a little too large, but they were really the only pumpkins that I had left. I didn't want to take the clips out of the other small pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. So I just tried to get these and use these pumpkins, but I'm a type of person that I don't really like any of my mechanics showing when my project is finished. So the one big pumpkin went really well. And then, looking down on the project, it looks like it probably would have fit really well with everything in it. But looking at it from my point, I could see all the stems and the zip tie, and I just really struggled with it for a while. But I ended up going ahead and gluing down the pumpkins and doing that, and then I took some of the other leaves and basically just kind of glued them in there to hide some of the mechanics of the project. But I do like this one because it was really easy to make because the sign itself was so pretty. There really wasn't much to do with it. Like I said, if you wanted, then you could definitely have changed the edge of the sign and maybe with some different scrapbooking paper, but I didn't. And I think it turned out really good in the end. So here I'm just trying to figure, do I want a flower? I cut off one of those little pumpkins thinking it was going to be small enough to maybe cover some of the stuff I was trying to hide. But I ended up not using it there. And I didn't really like the rose there. I don't know. I played with this far too long. I typically don't have to mess with my projects a lot when it comes to, like adding in florals and stuff. I think this was the only one that I've ever really struggled with. But then this is where I'm like, oh, well, maybe I can use the leaves. Took a minute, but I figured it out and we got it in there and it turned out beautiful. And the last DIYs, I've got 4 of the Dollar Tree picture frames, and I'm going to use those. I've got some scrapbooking paper out of a scrapbook pad that I got from Ross, and it's actually two-sided. It's really nice. It's got flowers on one side, but I wanted to use the stripes and kind of make it a little neutral. And then I've also got some of the clings from the Dollar Tree. I've got several different ones. So all I'm going to do is take the back off of the frames and just pencil it out so I can cut them out. I originally only do 2 because I was thinking maybe I would just only do 2 frames, but I ended up liking how they turned out and decided to go ahead and do all 4 frames. So once I've got them drawn out, I just cut them out with my scissors, or you can use your paper cutter. I just didn't want to get mine out for just a couple of cuts. So I don't glue this down or anything. You definitely can, but I chose not to. Wait. Yeah. Ooh, as you can tell, this is a few days after I've made the actual crafts. So what I'm doing here is I was putting the clings on to see how it would look on the paper, and I actually noticed it stuck pretty good to the paper, and I didn't really feel like I needed to glue that or Mod Podge that down either. I just needed to really ensure that it was sticking to the glass on the frame enough, and that it was pretty straight. And then I just put the craft paper on top and put the backing to the frame on there. Now I'm just taking different pieces from different cling sets and adding them to this one to give it just a little bit more embellishment. Like I said, it was actually pretty easy, and then once I reconstruct the frame, then that is it for each one of them. So this is how all the signs turned out. I think they turned out wonderfully. I want to say thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.